Hello, I'm Rimodo, and this is the first episode of my mapmaking series, and this will be for the total beginners. Most important for mapmaking is redstone, along with spawners and common blocks. And we'll start at the very beginning. So some of you probably will get pretty bored here in the first episode, but for the most of you, I guess, even if you consider yourself good in redstone, even in the very first episode, I have some tips for you, because that stuff can get quite confusing. We will have a download of this map when we are further into the episodes and when this is more polished up. For now, I'll just show you redstone today, so the block itself, and then how it interacts with other blocks, basic functions of repeaters, or toggle downfall. No. Okay. That's annoying. So, how it interacts with blocks, basic function of repeaters, then the redstone torch, the redstone blocks, and more will come in later episodes. But this is quite much, so let's see. Okay, for the map download I will have signs here. For now you have to listen to my voice. Okay, basically redstone has two main stages or forms. The one is the active one, glowing with particles, and the other one is just dark red. Glowing and activated means it can interact with other blocks, so it will give them power. This is an electric power source if you compare it to real life. It's not as complex as in real life, I promise that. So yeah, you'll see that. And basically you would just have to connect this to any block to give it power. Let's just compare that right now. I have that prepared on the other side, but it just makes sense to do it now too. So you see, the redstone lamp gets turned on. Who gets turned on? But not by the unpowered redstone. So redstone, the powered redstone has different substages too, because from a power source, this block is powered here. From a power source, down the line, it gets weaker and weaker. If you compare the color here and the particle effects, it gets less and less, up until 15 blocks of range, and then it's basically out. It's unpowered again. So every fifth block is the brown clay block here, and after the 15th block, the power's out. You probably all knew that before. So redstone can climb blocks too, whereas it looks like it's a longer distance here because it has to travel up and to the side, but this step counts as one block distance. So it could go up 15 blocks as well here. Half blocks, slabs and other translucent blocks don't block redstone. And that's very specific, and you have to test around there, and we'll probably do a whole episode on that later on in the end somewhere. For now you just have to know blocks like slabs and stairs and such blocks don't block redstone. whereas full blocks, like this clay block we used to build the redstone on, does block redstone. So the redstone can't connect to the upper block here because it's blocked by this block. Blocked is a pretty good expression for that. Here my example for the two states of redstone lamp, powered and unpowered. And now to a very, very important point. The shape of redstone matters. So if redstone isn't connected to anything, it stays in this dot form in comparison to if it's connected to other blocks of redstone, like that. It builds connections. If it isn't connected to anything, it has this dot form, and this is an omnidirectional redstone. So you see every block around it here on all the four sides are powered by the redstone. While you see here, if it's connected to other redstones, it builds this L shape. And that's following that. Only the blocks which are pointed at are powered. The blocks which aren't pointed at directly by the redstones aren't powered here, as you see. That's very important, because you see, if I would change that here, and I wanted to change later on my design here and decided that I need to lengthen my redstone cord here, and would put a redstone dust here, you see it connects, builds a string of redstone here, and the blocks to the side aren't powered anymore. So you have to keep in mind that redstone is directional. The shape matters. Okay, let's go on. So you'll probably ask yourself, so if the shape did matter here, then how are the redstone lamps glowing here? A very important point of the redstone is that it powers the block below it. That sounds strange for a moment, but I can show you what I mean with that. Even in that setup, the lamp is powered. That is important for multiple reasons. First off, because as we can see later, repeaters and comparators can react with that, and of course other redstone reactive blocks. If we would put a redstone to the side here, like we had in the setup before, it isn't powered because it's not connected to a powered block. Further on to the powered blocks can also be created if redstone points at them. And in other ways later on, but with redstone dust, it can be created when redstone is pointing directly at the block. As you'll see here, all the blocks that are adjacent to the powered block are getting a redstone signal too. So here starts the very confusing part, because if this block is powered, then that would mean that this block that receives power has current too, doesn't it? And that's the strange point. No, it doesn't. If redstone just points at a block, this block is powered. I can show you that here. It gives power to the glowstone, the redstone lamp above it, but it doesn't power an adjacent redstone. How you can power those in this redstone dust, I will show in the later episodes with inputs. And there's another trick you need to know. So as we have seen, the power decreases over time of the redstone. We can use it for various reasons, especially with comparators later on. But for now, you just need to know you have to repeat in the signal after a time, because as you see, the red block isn't powered anymore because it's a 16th block. But a repeater, and that's the main reason we use a repeater. Well, maybe not the main, but one of the basic reasons we need a repeater is the repeater sets the strength of the signal to 15 again. What I mean with 15 is it's kind of an agreement to call this strength, the most powered strength, 15, and then we go on 14, 13, 12, 11, and so on until the strengths of 1 and 0. So the repeater sets the strength to 15 again, as compared to comparator, which only repeats the thickness strengths, but more on that later. So the repeater has other functions we can use too. One will be in timing, but that will come later on. But a very, very important and probably one of the most confusing things for beginners in Redstone is that, as we have seen, if we point just Redstone Dust as a block, it's powered, but it doesn't give power to an adjacent Redstone Dust. While if you point a repeater to a block, the adjacent Redstone Dust behind that gets power. That's pretty good for all your builds, and you will need that so often. Another thing you'll have to see, while if you put a lamp here, the lamp isn't powered because the redstone isn't pointing at that. You don't have to make the redstone point at the repeater. The repeater will connect automatically with the redstone here. You see, the new connection appeared automatically. Another important point is this doesn't only work this way around, but a repeater can also be powered by a block that is pointed at from the redstone. If you remember, this block is pointing omnidirectional on all of 4 sides because it's just the redstone dust as a dot. Okay, and you see this block gets powered from the powered block and gives it power to this block. Normally, if we just connect a redstone dust here, as we would expect, nothing will happen because this isn't a valid power source for the redstone dust. But it is a valid power source for another repeater. So the repeater is pointing towards the dust and gets its power from the block here. So to recap, a repeater can get power from redstone dust and powered blocks and give power to powered blocks, and I like to describe it as it gives power harder or more power to the block, so it is enough to go over the resistance of the block to power an adjacent redstone dust behind it. That's useful for various reasons because well, we can build many contraptions with that and can wire around each other, so 2 crossing redstone lines which don't interfere with each other, or just if we need to get higher and repeat at the same time. And yeah, there are plenty of reasons. I don't know why I've even started to yeah, list all of those because it's just too much. So another interesting thing is, so we have the setup here again with a redstone dust pointing at the block, and as we saw before, this block isn't powered because the powered block isn't powered hard enough to give the redstone dust power here. And as we would expect, the redstone below isn't powered and the one above. As you can see here, I blocked the redstone current to the one on the top to make it clear. But if we look at it again, if the repeater powers a block, the block below the powered block and the block on the side and the block on the top gets power, even if we block the direct way to the top. So there doesn't need to be a connection to the top. Just the powered block here gives its power to the one above, below, and to the side. You can see how this could be useful if we have a floor on this level maybe, and we'll need to get the power up and have a setup like this. We would have problems if we would use a straight line of redstone. So we can hide everything pretty good here, but if we would like to use a straight line up and try to do the same thing, we would have quite some problems. We have enough space to put the redstone lamps here as in the other setting, but as it's directional here, only one block is powered. So always keep in mind, omnidirectional redstone dust is really important, and redstone repeaters are really good to get around obstructed blocks. One point more, I said that before, but keep in mind that even if blocks appear to be powered, that doesn't mean they have to give power to any adjacent blocks. So this glowstone block clearly receives power, but receiving power doesn't mean it gives power to. So let's just recap quickly. Let's recap quickly. The shape of redstone is important. Redstone powers blocks that are pointed at. The redstone in the form of dust is very, very useful because it points at all the 4 adjacent blocks. Redstone powers the block it lies on. Addition on that here, if we take the slab we used before to show that redstone is an obstruct, this is a quite new feature. We can place redstone on an upside down stair or slab, because slabs and stairs aren't full blocks, they can't be powered. So even if the full blocks are powered and giving those power to the redstone lamps, slabs and stairs don't. So keep that in mind, very important. Good that I remembered that here. Okay, pointed redstone powers blocks to give to other redstone reactive blocks, but doesn't power adjacent redstone dust. Repeaters set the strength of the signal back to 15 if they receive any input above a signal strength of 0, which would be unpowered. Redstone repeaters pointed at a block power the block as hard as it gets, and the adjacent dust gets power too. Redstone repeaters can get power by a block that is only powered by a redstone dust. So you see, this combination wouldn't be possible without the repeaters here. Redstone repeaters power blocks as hard as that powered blocks don't only give power to blocks behind them, but to the side, below, and the top. So to make that clear, we don't need the connection here between the blocks. Okay, let's go to torches. Okay, redstone torches. The redstone torches are easiest input. And with easiest input, I mean it's very easy to understand and it's consistent most of the time. So yeah, the redstone torch gives power to all the 4 sides around it, to adjacent redstone dust. It isn't pointed in that state, so it can't give power to a block. This block is not powered in any configuration. The redstone torch can give power to a block above it, This block is powered hard, so like with a redstone repeater, the powered block gives power to redstone dust to the side and to the top. Well, we don't have to talk about below because the torch is there. So it doesn't work the other way around. The block below the redstone torch isn't powered, so you see it doesn't give power to adjacent redstone. The redstone torch can be put on the side of full blocks and works very similarly, but has an additional feature. It powers the redstone below it. It seems like quite a big gap, but if you see that is redstone torch, the block right next under it is redstone already. So that seems like more than one block gap, but it's directly connected here. Also, same here, the redstone torch on the side of a block gives power to redstone directly adjacent to it and to blocks above and powers them hard. So in this configuration, the redstone on top of the powered block is getting power too from the torch. Another important feature of the torch is that a powered torch or any powered redstone deactivates torches if they're pointed at it, at the block the torch is on. So this block is powered by the torch below it, and that concludes to those two torches being unpowered. If we remove the power source, those two torches are powered again. Okay, the same thing works with redstone being pointed at a block. So this block is powered. Following this redstone torch is unpowered because it's getting power pointed from this redstone dust. So you see, if we go to the shape thing again, then and take the power of this block with not pointing at the block anymore, so this block isn't powered, the torch has power again. If we remove this redstone and the redstone here lights up again. Important topic here, if you haven't noticed yet, redstone, if you place it next to a torch, automatically connects to the torch and builds a string. Isn't a dot anymore. So this is just a line to show you what happens if we take the power source. So this redstone torch is off, doesn't give power to the redstone dust. As this torch isn't getting any power, it's in its normal state, it's on, it's giving power to an adjacent block, redstone block. And this is powered again, powering this block, unpowering this torch. If we take, I'll show you from above, if we take this torch, it changes its state. So this isn't quite instant. I will explain that later in a timing tutorial, but for now it's pretty fast. So we took the power source, it's following that. Well, first off, the redstone is omnidirectional now because it's not connected to anything anymore, but pointing at the block, which doesn't matter at the moment because it's not powered. This block not being powered is followed by this torch being active again, powering this line of redstone, which then is followed by this block being powered, and this block being powered means that this torch is off, and so on. And that's it for torches for now. You can do many things with the knowledge you have now. So you can do many logic gates and stuff, which I will explain later. Already now, in the time before pistons were introduced, or repeaters, people already built repeaters with torches and stuff. That reminds me of one very important fact. the power given by the torch is always power level 15, so fully powered redstone. So you can see if you have just a setup, they have had it more compacted in that time, but just for the sake of showing you, this would be a redstone repeater. You see the input is off and the output is off too. So if we have input on, the output is on too. And it would have, no matter if the redstone signal is 1 or 15 here, in the end the output will be 15 again. So that was the way you would build a repeater back then, but more compact. So there's plenty of things you already can create now, and I want you to think about that. One more thing before we end the episode today. This is a redstone block. That's fairly simple. The redstone block acts like hard powered block hard powered block from a repeater. So it gives power to the block below, above, and to the side. The only difference is that the redstone dust connected to the power block instantly builds a line, while when we have a block powered by a repeater, let's do that real quickly, doesn't build a line, but is in the form of a point dust. So that's it for today, and I hope you liked it. As I said, that was a very basic episode, and you see I had quite trouble explaining some of the things because it's not totally logic. There are some flaws in the system, but those flaws aren't a bad thing. Those flaws are making most of the contraptions you see, like games and calculators and stuff, possible, because you can basically abuse them. And without those flaws, most things we would build in Redstone, we try to build, wouldn't work. So it's quite complex in the beginning, but once you are starting thinking with, I almost said portals here, start thinking with portals and start thinking with redstone floors, everything you build is getting easier. So if you get those lame basics here, this boring stuff in the beginning, the rest is really easy. Really, that is the hardest part you did here already. So basically, the only other thing that will get quite complex is timing, but well, if you forget the time, you can always look it up online, so doesn't really matter. I hope you liked this episode, and I know I stuttered a lot. That will decrease in the next episodes, but this isn't quite easy to explain, and maybe I will redo this episode in some time, but for now that should be enough. And when this map is being uploaded, it's more polished up and more of the stuff will follow. So next episodes will be about inputs, and when we have enough time, it will be about redstone reactive blocks, so dispensers, pistons, and stuff you can do with that. For the ones waiting for logic gates like XNOR gates, T flip-flops, RS knowledge, we will get to that really fast, because for now I will only have this series up and not the Redstone designing series, because not Redstone Mapmaking designing series, because this is really the basic of everything you will have to do in mapmaking, and you will have to get really deep into this stuff. So I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next week. Bye.